Hello friends, Adam here with FED. Today we're going to be ranking all the skills. I've done this before, ranking all the skills in 3 houses, but I think my opinion has changed on a lot of these since then, so I just wanted to do it again, especially after my most recent playthrough. I have a few different thoughts, and especially on like DLC abilities and stuff, so let us talk about this right now. And I'm not going to be going in any particular order. I don't have any, I might miss a few skills here or there, and I'm not talking about personal abilities, and I'm not talking about things that only appear as class abilities. So like stealth we won't be talking about, avoid plus 10 we won't be talking about, things like that. Canto we won't be talking about. So let us get started. Alright, first we have Aegis and Prowess. Still think I say those wrong, but whatever. I think just kind of like both of these skills are kind of whatever to me. Neither of them are super worth using, in my opinion. To me, they are like, oh well, I have an open 5th slot, I might as well use them. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna throw them into C tier. I think it's super hype when they happen. Like it's super cool when they activate, but more often than not, I'm not impressed by their use. Alright, Alert Stance. I think Alert Stance is legitimately good. I think I'm going to put it into A tier. I don't think it's S tier good, because I feel like it has to be paired with some other skills to really be worth using. But on its own, it's still pretty fun. So I think it's an A tier at the very least. Potential like low S tier ability for me, but again, I think it does rely on having like Sword Avoid or Faith Avoid or Defiant Avoid or something else along with it to help it be a little more reliable. Alright, now we have Authority level 5 or just Authority level whatever. I think this is a D tier skill. D tier ability. I think Authority level 5 is just, if I'm being honest, a waste of a slot. So what it does is increases the damage output of your gambit, but it doesn't increase your hit rate. If it increased the hit rate of your gambit, I'd be all for it. I would say it's really great, especially in early game. But plus 8 damage to your gambit doesn't feel worth it when it could be replaced by a skill or an ability that's much better than that. Especially more often than not, my gambiting isn't to damage a bunch of enemies, it is just to lock them down, make it so they can't do anything next turn. So I think that's a D tier skill. If it increased the hit rate of your gambits, totally S tier, but it doesn't. So yeah. Alright, next we have the Prowess skills. You know, Axe Prowess, Sword Prowess, Lance Prowess. I'm just gonna have them all represented by one. It's S tier. It's gotta be. It's an easy S tier. It's kind of it's boring, I'll be honest. It's kind of I don't know, it's lackluster in terms of like its flash or flare, but it has it gives extra hit, it gives avoid, it gives crit avoid. It just makes everything way more reliable. And on a maddening, that's definitely going to be, it's a must-have for your go-to weapon type. Yeah, the prowess skills are all amazing. And that's not to say you should have a whole skill build around having like 5 of those. No, you just need 1, but you definitely want it. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to be using lances, you better have lance prowess, or you're going to miss more often than you should. Stuff like that. It's another thing that really kind of gets slept on, but it goes really well with like Alert Stance and stuff like that. You really want this prowess skill and get it up to level 5 when you can. Alright, next we have the avoid skills, weapon avoid skills I should say. Like Sword Avoid, Faith Avoid, Brawl Avoid. I don't think you can get any other avoids other than those. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments if I missed that. But I think this is kind of similar to Alert Stance. I think it's an A tier, definitely. I do think it is reliant on having like this whole like these 3, the 1 in S and 2 in A. These 3 together are a pretty potent combo, but I think these 2, Alert Stance and Sword Avoid / Faith Avoid / Brawl Avoid, they don't do it by themselves. They don't do it by themselves. They need some help. Whereas I put Prowess up here because not only does it give you avoid, but it also gives you hit, which is really big and maddening. So yeah, I think the weapon avoid skills definitely good, but need a little bit of help to become really, really powerful. All right, now weapon fairs, again, all represented by axe fair here. Easy S tier. I mean, how can you put it anywhere else? It's just a flat +5 damage on both player and enemy phase. So yeah, there's no doubt about it. Axe fair is, I mean, just weapon fair are really, really good. Special shout out to fist fair or gauntlet fair. I can't remember which one how they call it. I think it's fist fair. Special shout out to that because +5 damage on it becomes +10 damage on player phase essentially. So super good. Really, really like the fair skills. All right, Desperation. Desperation, honestly, kind of lame. Not gonna lie, kind of lame. So Desperation is the mastered ability for what? Cavalier, right? So if you would double and you're on low HP, you get both of your attacks right in a row rather than later. But the problem is, on Maddening especially, on Maddening at least, you don't double very often. So the utility here is pretty bad. And then, considering that it is a Cavalier mastered ability, you definitely want to change classes because Cavalier has a low speed base. So yeah, not my favorite skill. It's actually one of my least favorite skills in the game. I've never used it effectively. It's pretty rare to see it usefully used. I do think it's better than. I don't think it's as bad as Authority level 5, so I'm gonna put it up here into C tier. Battalion Desperation. Now, it's definitely better than Desperation because it doesn't rely on you being on low health, and it relies on your battalion being on low health, which is a lot easier to maintain and keeps you from being dead. So I think it's definitely better, but I don't think, just because it's still Desperation it shouldn't be moved up, is all I'm saying. Renewal. Mastered Bishop ability. You know, recovering HP is great, but I don't know, the units that you're going to have in Bishop really don't need renewal, is the problem. It's something that you'll have to send, you have to go out of your way to learn renewal on a unit who will actually benefit from it, if that makes sense. I do think it's better than Aegis and Prowess, but I don't think it's worthy of being any higher than C tier. Battalion renewal is just bad. Battalion renewal, it heals your battalion, which negates the ability to use like Battalion Desperation, Battalion Vantage, Battalion Wrath, these awesome skills that you essentially just don't want to do. So no. And honestly, why would you waste a skill slot on Battalion Restoration or whatever it's called? It's just not good. Not worth it. Alright, Vantage. I think Vantage is going to be our first B tier skill. Vantage is easy to get. It's you master Mercenary, you get it, and also it's just on hero if you want to go that route. It's just a class ability there. Always attacking first when you're on low HP can be nice, but again, it's something that has to be paired with other things for it to be useful. And the fact that you have to be on low HP yourself is what keeps it in B tier. So again, it needs to be paired. I feel like for it to really be useful, you need to pair it with something like with Wrath or Defiant Crit, stuff like that. Defiant Strength. So not my favorite skill, but it's still pretty good. Pretty good. I think it's a pretty middle of the pack skill for me. All right, next we have Battalion Vantage, which I think is automatically a tier better than normal Vantage. And that's because it doesn't rely on your character being on low health, and it just relies on your battalion being on low health, which is a lot easier to manage, and it's a lot safer, right? So I think that is a pretty fair thing. Similar ability, of course, has basically the same effect, except it relies on a different stat, different HP stat that's less important to be high, right? So I like that a lot better than normal Vantage. I think it does warrant being a tier above. Alright, Wrath. I think I like Wrath more than I like Vantage, I think. But it still requires you to be on low HP. So everyone's going to be like, oh, but the Wrath Vantage combo is broken. And you're right, the Wrath Vantage combo is broken. But you have to get both of them. And that's pretty high investment overall. Mastering War, you'll have to go and master Warrior at some point to get Wrath. I mean, you could, and Vantage you could just go into Hero and not have to master Mercenary, but because you probably want to be spending time mastering like Archer or mastering Brigand or something like that, rather than mastering Mercenary. I get that. So, yeah, I don't know. The cost is just too high for it to be up in A for me. And just the low HP aspect, I'm not comfortable putting it higher than this. That being said, I will put Battalion Wrath up here because of the same reasons that I put Battalion Vantage higher. It's the fact that it's not relying on you having low HP and just your battalion being low, and that's something that transfers between chapters. You can literally just have a pretty sick combo going on. And really, these two are obviously the most powerful in conjunction when you have Battalion Wrath and Battalion Vantage. There's only one unit who gets that, though, which is too bad. It's Dimitri. But if more units got that, that'd be just busted. But so I guess that's a good thing. You can still pair it with Vantage or something, but it becomes a lot less useful because then you have to have 2 stats that are low rather than just 1. So it just becomes harder to set up. But with like guard adjutants and stuff like that, it's totally possible. So yeah, that's my take on these. I don't know. You might think I'm wrong, but yeah. Alright, Battalion... I can't remember what it's called. It's like Battalion Defense or whatever. It just makes it so your battalion loses less HP. I never use it, therefore I forget its name. I think that is a D tier skill. That's very rarely going to be useful. I mean, I can't... I feel like I can count on just like on 2 hands how many times I've had a battalion die in the middle of a chapter. It's fairly rare, so I'm going to say that's a D tier skill. There might be some instances where it might be useful, especially if you have someone who takes a ton of damage, like say like a Raphael who has like maybe like over 70 HP or something, but takes like 50 in a round of combat. His battalion's going to die pretty quick. So it might be useful on him, but for the most part, not my favorite. Alright, now we're moving into some really fun skills. I love the blow skills. All of them are at least somewhat fun to use, in my opinion. But there are definitely some that are better than others. So Armored Blow, I think that's more useful than like these. I don't know if it's quite, I don't know. I think I'm going to put it at the bottom of B tier. Armored Blow plus 6 defense when you're attacking on player face is relatively nice. It's kind of, to me, it's like budget wind sweep. So just making it so that you just wind sweep makes it so you take no damage on player phase, whereas Armored Blow makes it so you take like slightly less, and that's nice and can be useful. But I think there might be one other blow skill that I think is worse than this one, but I don't think it's very good. All right, Darting Blow. Darting Blow is really good. Pegasus Knight mastered ability. Yuritsa also learns it by learning flying, so that's cool. But yeah, I think Darting Blow plus 6 speed. It makes it so you can double on maddening like somewhat often. Without Darting Blow, I don't think my Leonie, my current playthrough, would be doubling ever. But because she has it, she like is just barely doubling a lot of enemies. So I think that's totally worth it. So Death Blow I think is even better than Darting Blow. I think it scales better to endgame. Death Blow is just plus 6 damage on player phase. Pairing that with like some gauntlets, that's essentially plus 12 damage on player phase, which is great. I love having it on characters with Swift Strikes, like Sylvain, Ferdinand. They can do some mad damage with that. So yeah, Death Blow, really good, really great player phase skill in a game that's player phase heavy. Very reliable too. I'm going to say the same thing for Fiendish Blow, except I'm going to put it even higher. The plus magic is really big, especially when you can use like Thyrsus or the Caduceus Staff or the Valkyrie class to just have even just like your range. You can outrange every opponent in the game except for those that have like distant counter or whatever. Really great skill. And plus 6 can be the difference between someone like Lysithea or Constance one-shotting and not one-shotting. So Fiendish Blow is big. I like it a lot. Alright, Duelist Blow. Duelist Blow. Just gives you a whole heap of avoid on player phase. I'm going to put this into like the bottom of A tier. So I don't know. In general, I think increasing your offensive capability is better than increasing your defensive capability in 3 houses. Just because player phase is so important on Maddening. So I think Duelist Blow, while it is fun and good to use, if you have the skill slot for it, I don't think I would put it in over anything that we have in S tier so far. Or I'm tempted to move it to B tier, like top of B tier, because I don't even like it as much as, say, Sword of Void or anything like that. In conjunction with like Sword of Void, it can be pretty fun, but it doesn't. It's only player phase, and really, when you're avoiding things, you want it to be on enemy phase, right? So yeah, I think I've talked myself into moving it to B tier. Good for player phase dodging, but that's it. And so it's only dodges 1 attack, whereas like Alert Stance dodges helps dodge an entire enemy phase kind of thing. So I think there is definitely a tier difference there. All right, Uncanny Blow, which is just like, it's like plus 40 hit or plus 30 hit. It's ridiculous. It's a lot of hit, which is a really good player phase ability. Really great player phase ability, right? And increases your offensive capabilities. I need someone to look into this for me. Does it affect your Gambit hit rate? Because if it affects your Gambit hit rate, like easy S tier for me. If it doesn't, I'm gonna say like bottom A tier. So I'm gonna put a bottom of A tier, but if it does affect your Gambit hit rate, top of like bottom of S tier for sure. Maybe like above Fiendish Blow for me. That could be really, really useful. Yeah, so someone let me know in the comments if you know the answer to that. Alright, Warding Blow. I think Warding Blow is just straight up worse than Armor Blow. So much so that I'm going to put it a tier below. Warding Blow, the extra resistance is not worth the investment nor the ability slot. So you have to master Mortal Savant, a class that I think is lackluster in its own right, not really worth using for most characters. And then it's only player phase, and if you on a physical unit, Warding Blow is stupid, because especially by the time you can get Warding Blow, by the time you have units over level 30 who are mastering master classes, mages should basically be a non-issue if you're using, you know, point blank volley, hunter's volley, swift strikes, any brave weapon, wind sweep, or just like being able to one-shot them with a strong attack or something. Generally, you aren't going to be worried too much about taking damage from mages unless they're going to be attacking you on enemy phase. Therefore, Warding Blow, which is a player phase only skill, is less useful. So, yeah, C tier for me. I don't think it's very good. All right, Breaker skill. Breaker skill, it only affects, and we're just going to have it represented by one of them, just Axe Breaker here. The Breaker skills, they're hit or miss for me. I think there's... You know, I think there are there's 2 other ones that are worth ranking here. So the Axe one just kind of represents everything, but these Bow and Lancebreaker are worth mentioning here. So Axe Breaker, which just in general, like the general breaker skills, in my opinion, are like I don't know, like B tier. It's just the fact that you have to be using a certain kind of... It's basically just the weapon triangle, except not as good, right? And enemies all have it. It's really annoying on that name. But I do want to say, I do think that like Bowbreaker is better, just because of the fact that bows lose accuracy the farther away they are. So against like a sniper who's attacking from 3 or 4 spaces away, Bowbreaker can be huge. It can really be the difference between you getting hit and not. I think that's worth mentioning. Lancebreaker, I think, is better than other breakers, just because there's some really scary lance units in Pegasus Knights and Paladins and whatnot on Maddening. So I think that is worth mentioning. All right, Close Counter. Close Counter is hard. Close Counter is a like good early game ability for your archers, but later on you should either have Retribution or hopefully just not getting attacked on enemy phase. Few units I think it's actually good on are like Claude. I think Claude really benefits from Close Counter. if you don't have like a Retribution laying around to throw on him. Other than that, units that there isn't a lot of opportunity to get like, I don't know, there aren't, I feel like in Three Houses there are not a ton of enemies that have 1-2 range weapons. You don't see a lot of hand axes or javelins or tomahawks or anything like that. So I think it's hard for me to like really, it's hard for me to rate it low because I think it has some really great early game utility for your archers, but I feel like mid to late game it kind of falls off when you stop wanting your archers to be in range of enemies ever, right? I mean, usually you don't anyways, but you definitely don't, especially once you get to sniper and have like Hunter's Volley or something, or Bow Knight with a bow range +2. So I'm having a hard time tiering this one. I think we'll just go bottom of B tier for now. I think that's fair overall. Yeah, we'll see. I might change my mind on that one a little bit. Alright, Distant Counter, which only Yuritsa can learn. It's the master ability of Death Knight. You can just counter all the time, so yeah. I mean, easy S tier. Always countering is good. Alright, the weapon crit skills, which you can get for all of your weapons besides the magic weapons by reaching S rank with that particular weapon, right? So it's just a flat buff. I don't know. It's hard for me to say it's up here as useful as these, because critting is still just like a random chance of happening. So I think I'm going to put it here. And by the way, just a distant counter's just got to go all the way up here. It's so good. But I don't know. You're probably not going to use it, is the thing. Because only one unit can use it, and it's on one path. So dumb. Anyways, yeah, the crit abilities, I think they're all pretty good. I think they're all really good. Flat buff to crit is nice. I think it's like similar in its usefulness to like weapon avoid skills. So we'll say that. All right, the stat plus skills. So we're talking, speed +2, defense +2, strength +2. The other one +2 that I can't, magic +2 for some reason couldn't come to mind. Really great early game, but I feel like they lose their utility the longer you get into game, where +2 defense or +2 strength becomes less useful than, say, having like alert stance and sword avoid and your prowess skill, and then your affair, or even like maybe you want battalion vantage or battalion wrath or any of the blows. I don't know. Start really great early game, not so great late game. I think it definitely just like the stat plus skills go there for me. As for other stat plus skills that I think are unique enough to talk about differently, movement +1. I love movement +1, one of my favorite skills, just because +1 movement equals a lot of flexibility. And if you can get that, it's super high investment is the problem though, and I understand that because you need to go into riding, but I don't think the riding classes just generally aren't as worth using as, say, like Falcon Knight or Wyvern Lord. But if you can get this on a Wyvern Lord or on a Falcon Knight, it's pretty solid. I'll say that. It's pretty solid. So I think we'll say it's S. Maybe we'll move it to the top of A just because of the investment required. Ooh, now we get to do the Defiance. I like the Defiant skills. They can be fun to mess around with. So Defiant Avoid, I think is like I think it's either an A or a B tier skill. Because it's the kind of thing where, like, in the right build, it can be awesome. Otherwise, it's a kind of a waste of a slot, in my opinion. I think I'm going to do top of B here for now. But again, Defiant Avoid paired with, like, Alert Stance, and then with, like, Sword Avoid or Brawl Avoid or whatever, and then paired with a Prowess skill can be a nasty evasion combination that I love. But I think Defiant Avoid is the weakest of the avoid skills on its own, aside from maybe like Duelist Blow. So I think that's fair. I think the fact that you have to be on low HP is what really nails it as not that great for me. Alright. Defiant Crit, I think, is much less useful than Defiant Avoid. But it could be paired with things to be really cool too. I don't know. I think I'm gonna put it like right by it, actually. I think this is where most of the Defiant abilities are going to go. I think Defiant Speed goes here. Defiant Magic is actually interesting. I think I'm going to put Defiant Magic up in A, along with Defiant Strength, because you can really manipulate that to deal extra damage. And Defiant Magic comes from Grimory, right? So Defiant Magic on someone with like using the Thyrsus staff or in the Valkyrie class or something, if you were feeling froggy, allows you to attack. You can like use a guard adjutant, get down to low health, have that, and that's just a flat +8 damage on player phase, which is basically the only time I'm attacking with most of my mages anyways, right? So I think that's pretty cool. And the same goes for Defiant Strength. If you could get that on someone like a sniper, an archer, or something, that could be pretty good. Alright. Defiant Res. For some reason I don't have Defiant Defense on here. Defiant Res and Defiant Defense are both meta me. You're already at low defense. I mean low HP. That's only going to be useful in like Fortress Knights or something, or like Great Knights. So I'm going to put it like down there. Alright, so Cavalry / Armor / Flying Effect Nullification, or whatever it's called. Like null, it's like null flying or whatever, however the actual nomenclature is for this. Actual trash tier. Actual trash tier. Because dismounting gets rid of all of the negative effects of these. And actually, you know what? Where are you at? These are different enough to where this one deserves to be tiered separately. But you can just dismount from your horse or from your flying thing to not have the negative effects of being that class, right? So I don't see any reason why you would use these, because you can literally just remount and then move with your full movement and have Canto still. There are so few instances where these would even be remotely useful to me. Like getting S+ in either riding or flying is just pointless. Like, just don't do it. Once you get move +1 or alert stance plus, like there's no reason to keep learning these. Basically pointless. I will say that I think armor effect nullification is slightly better. So I'm going to put it at the top here. I still don't think it's good, but it's better just because you can't dismount from being armored. You know, you can't just take your armor off. Hit +20, one of the most important skills. I shouldn't say one of the most important skills, but definitely one of the best skills in the game. For maddening mode. Lower difficulties, it doesn't really matter because you're going to be hitting anyways. But definitely an S-tier skill to me. Definitely an S-tier skill for me. The fact that it affects your gambits is insane. So, yeah. Crazy, crazy good. Lethality, a very, very slight chance to just kill enemies, which hopefully you're just killing them anyways. D tier, bad. Bad skill, don't like it. I had a proc for me, I have it equipped on my assassin right now just for fun, and Yuri happened to kill someone with it and it was really cool, but it'll probably never happen again. So I can now say I've seen it happen once. Lethality's happened once in 3 houses for me. Okay. Life Taker. You really shouldn't be taking damage if you're using magic. And this comes from Dark Bishop. It's not like you're going to be using another class after. It's not like you're going to be putting a physical unit into Dark Bishop just to learn Life Taker. It's not worth it, right? So I think this is another D tier skill. I think that's pretty bad. Miracle, D tier skill. I think it can save you and be kind of funny, but it's bad. On enemies, it's the most annoying thing in the world, but for a player, it's lame. Alright, now we have 2 skills that have the exact same icon, which is just like, that was just lazy, man. What are you doing? We have Model Leader and Sacred Power. We're going to talk about Model Leader first, which just makes it so your battalions gain more experience quicker. Yeah, it's whatever to me. Sacred Power is actually pretty cool. Adjacent ally, only Bile can get it. Adjacent allies just deal more damage, which synergizes really, really well with Professor's Guidance. That gives experience to adjacent allies. So, I mean, are you going to have this on your Byleth most of the time? Probably not, but I think it's a good filler skill. So I think I'm going to put it like here. Pass. Not very many units learn Pass. I believe Bernadetta and Anna are the only ones. There might be another one if I thought I'm forgetting. Allows you to move through enemies. Really scary on enemies, but again, not super useful on player phase units. I mean, not, yeah, good for enemies, not super useful for player character. So I think I'm gonna go. There's also just some niche funny things you can do with it. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go C tier. If it were on some like tankier units, I'd probably put it higher. But the fact that it's only on like squishies isn't worth it. If you pair it with like assassin, it could be interesting too. But yeah, no, C tier. Poison Strike. I hate Poison Strike. It's stupid. There might be some people that'll tell you, oh, Poison Strike's great for taking out monsters. But no, it's not. Just deal more damage. Poison Strike's not worth it. Don't go Dark Mage just to lower Poison Strike. It's pointless. All right, Quick Riposte. This would be an easy S tier if it weren't stupid high investment. So I think I'm gonna go A tier. Yeah, pretty good. All right, Pomp and Circumstance. +4 luck, whatever, but it also gives +4 charm, which would be really great for early game, but you can't get it early game because you can only get it in part 2. And it's already on, and it's only on units that already have really high charm, being Dimitri, Edelgard, and Claude. So I think I'm going to say D tier for this one. All right, rallies. Okay, we're into the home stretch now. We're almost there. Rallies, rally charm, super great early game, and potentially good late game if you have some borderline hit rates with your charm. So +8 charm is big. That can be a 40-point swing in hit rate for Gambit. So I think I'm gonna put this one in like. I think I'm gonna put this one in A tier. I don't know. That hurts. I'm not sure about that one. No, we'll put it in B tier because it gets less useful. B tier. All right, Rally Defense. I think that's kind of similar in utility. Rally Dexterity, I'm going to put that in C tier. Definitely less useful. Rally Speed, I'm going to put into bottom of A, I think. I think it's definitely better. Rally Magic, I think, is probably the best rally ability. Oh, that's Rally Luck. Sorry, guys. I got the colors mixed up. That's Rally Luck. Rally Luck goes down here. Boo, Rally Luck. Somewhere in there. Rally Magic, on the other hand, I think might be the best rally skill. It can increase the warp range of a mage, and also Maddening, you're going to have units, again, like Lysithea and Constance, who are a lot of times, I feel like at least, a lot of times are 2, 3, sometimes 4 points of magic short from one-shotting an enemy, and that can make the difference. And I really like that. Also, it's +1 warp range and +1 rescue range to anyone who uses it on that has those skills. Alright. Rally movement would be higher if it weren't so freaking impossible to learn. So I think we'll put it bottom of B. I would be higher, but yeah, again. And it only affects one unit. If it affected more units, I think it'd be more interesting. Rally Res. Boo. Rally Speed. I think that's up there with Rally Magic, and I think Rally Strength is up there too. I think those three are definitely the best ones, and then followed closely by Rally Charm. You know, we're gonna move Rally Charm up to A tier. It's really good. All right, the magic range +1 skills are just invaluable for those two, and then for Faith, I'm like white magic range +1. I'm just gonna put to A, just because the white magic spell list is a lot less good. So, but yeah, definite S tiers for the other two for Dark and Reason. I mean, sorry, Dark and Black magic. Really, really great. All right, the Seal skills, all represented by Seal Defense here. There are certain instances where it might be worth it on like a monster or something, or like a boss or something. Or more often than not, I think the Seal skills are pretty lackluster. We'll put most of them there, except for Seal Movement. I think that is an A tier skill, just because it acts kind of like Encloser, or a Gambit even, where it's just being able to lock down, or like the magic attack Banshee, just being able to lock down an enemy unit for a turn, it's like that's akin to killing someone, you know, making it so they can't hurt you on enemy phase. The problem is, I guess it's only on Dimitri, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I know Dimitri learns it might only be him. And he generally is just going to be killing things outright. So any seal skill on him is kind of wasted, I feel like. Alright, Special Dance. I can't put it in anything but S, because it just gives +4 speed, but it also gives like +4 luck and charm, I believe. But the +4 speed is the bigger deal. But it also just, you're going to be dancing anyways, so it's just a free buff to the unit that you dance. So, and what else is your dancer going to have equipped at that point? Steel, boo, bad skill. No reason to Master Thief. It's pointless. Steel is so rarely useful that I just don't even waste your time. Alright, weight -3 and -5. I'm just going to put these together. I don't know why I have them both on here. I think if you can buy some magical grinding technique, and by magical I just mean by grinding and stuff, if you do get this on someone like you know, your Lysithias or other magic units that have like really heavy magic but low strength, could be useful. But I think the investment cost is pretty high, so I think I'm just going to put it into A tier because it's obviously good, but I just don't think it's actually worth. I don't know if it's worth investing into for units that really want it. Alright, Transmute. On paper, Transmute is really cool. So you take magic damage, all of your stats get +3. So again, on paper, really, really cool, but I don't think it's actually that good. So I think I'm going to say C tier for this one. And Lucky Sevens is one of my favorite skills in the game. I think it's hilarious. I love just like out of nowhere getting +5 strength or +5 magic or +5 speed. Just stupid stuff like that. It's so fun to me. I love it. But I recognize that it's not actually that good. I think I'll put it like up here in like C tier. Because it's so random. If it weren't random, like if it was like on this turn you get +5 strength, this turn you get +5 magic, I think that'd be a lot cooler. But I understand that it's random, so it's not that good. Alright, that is my quick and dirty. It wasn't really that quick, but it is very dirty. 3 Houses abilities tier list. Let me know in the comments what you would change. And also, if I forgot any, feel free just to like message in the comments, and if I see your comment, I will reply with you my thoughts on it. But I don't think I missed very many or at all. I'm sure I missed some. Who's kidding? Who am I kidding? I'm sure I missed some. But yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe before you leave. Like the video as well before you leave. And stay tuned for more Fire Emblem discussions just like this one. Thanks for watching, guys.